My name is Jayda Fransen and I am a British political activist. I'm making this video to share my story with you, to let you know what I've been subjected to over the past year. Last year in March 2018, I was sentenced to 9 months in prison for exposing a gang of rapists. At the end of my sentence in November 2018, I was told that I was being placed on PSS, which is post-sentence supervision. It's an order that has 6 standard conditions, one of which is that you must live at an address approved by your probation officer. I told my probation officer before my sentence finished that I was going home to my house in Northern Ireland, and she said that I wasn't allowed to. At the end of my sentence, she told me that I could only live in a hotel in England that I had to pay for, wasn't allowed to move back to my house in Northern Ireland, had to still pay the mortgage on the house and leave it empty, but had to live in a hotel in England, one address that she had approved. Of course, who can afford to do that? Who can afford to shut their front door and say, I'm going to pay the mortgage for the next 8 months, but I'm also going to book myself into a hotel for 8 months every day? It's not practical. So I flew home. I came to Northern Ireland and she issued an arrest warrant for me, and police raided houses in London looking for me, despite the fact that they knew I was here. Then I got on a plane and flew to England to spend Christmas with my godchildren. I was arrested on that plane by armed police, taken to a police cell, held overnight, taken to court, and then they bailed me. This is the irony of the situation. They bailed me to my house in Northern Ireland. So then I stood trial on the 6th of February back in England. And at that trial, my probation officer provided the court with a breach report. Now, in that breach report, it expressly states that the Probation Board of Northern Ireland were the ones that made the decision that I could not live in my home in Northern Ireland. My probation officer has confirmed this to me in an email prior to that trial on 5 separate occasions. I've got 5 emails from her stating that it was the probation service in Northern Ireland that said I'm banned from living in my home address. She also took the stand at my trial and said the same thing to the magistrates. So they convicted me of breaching my PSS, and they sentenced me not to jail. They could have sent me to jail for a week. They could have given me a fine. They sentenced me to community service because she suggested that I get community service. And you know why? Because it has to be served in England. I stood in the dock and I said, I cannot serve community service in England. I am homeless if you keep me in England. My home is in Northern Ireland. I've got nowhere to live in England. They simply said she has to find somewhere immediately. She has to live in England and can't leave. Imagine that. Imagine if you live in England and you came to Northern Ireland for a weekend, got in trouble, got arrested, and then the court in Northern Ireland said, that's it, you can't go back to England. You have to find somewhere to live here now. Who can do that? It's not realistic. So after this passed, something really interesting happened. My probation officer's line manager sent my solicitor an email, and in that email she stated that it wasn't the probation service in Northern Ireland that made that decision that I couldn't come home. It was them. It was my probation officer. She made the decision. So she lied. She lied in those 5 emails. She lied in that breach report, and she lied under oath on the stand at my trial, and she did so to get me convicted, and it worked. That's perjury. That's a criminal offence. If you or I took the stand and lied and got someone wrongfully convicted, we would be in jail. That's either perjury, contempt of court, or perverting the course of justice, all of which carry really hefty prison sentences. And I can assure you, if I did that to someone, I'd be in jail. These people think they're above the law. So I've had to report this to the Northern Ireland Human Rights Commission to ask them to help me with my human rights to a private life, to stay in my home. I've even contacted my local MP, who's Lady Sylvia Herman. This is a very respected politician, a very respected member of Parliament, and I am one of her constituents. So she put my case forward to the Ministry of Justice. Do you know what they did? They ignored her. Just like I'm being ignored. I've been ignored by my probation officer for weeks and weeks and weeks on end. But they're actually ignoring a democratically elected member of Parliament, a respected politician. That's a step too far, surely. I've even had to report my probation officer to the police because it's a crime. And so I've appealed this decision. My appeal is being heard at Croydon Crown Court on the 17th of April. At that stage, I'm going to have to stand up in court and say, my probation officer lied to you last time. That's a criminal offence. But see how sneaky the probation service are in England. Knowing that my appeal is on the 17th of April, they've summoned me back to court on the 1st of April for 6 further charges of breach. Now, each of those charges now carry 2 weeks in jail. So you see how they're really racking up jail time against me. This is all deliberate. And this is all going on at a time when, as if this isn't bad enough, I'm also being sued for £500,000 by the Halal Food Authority. I have had my passport confiscated by SO15 counter-terror police and told that I'm banned from leaving the country. I can't leave the UK. I can't go to England to visit my friends and family because there are warrants out for my arrest. And I've just stood 2 trials in Northern Ireland. I have to go back to court on Friday the 29th of March for judgment, and I could be going back to jail for a year for hate speech. Now, this hate speech is because I gave a speech at an anti-terror rally against terrorism, but I could go back to jail for a year. There are distress warrants out for me in England claiming that my assets are going to be seized because when I got out of jail last year, I left with a colossal amount of debt because I hadn't been paid and I had huge debts weighing down on me. And just to top it all off, I've started a new venture of my own, Jayda Fransen online. My payment system lasted less than 24 hours and was pulled down. So things are pretty doom and gloom at the moment, aren't they? But here's the good news. The good news is I smile and I laugh every day. And every day I wake up and I'm grateful for what I've got. And every day I know that God has brought me this far and he will not forsake me. And I know that wholeheartedly. And for that reason alone, I won't be giving up. I won't be giving up on God. I won't be giving up on myself. I won't be giving up on this cause. And I won't be giving up on any of you. So please don't give up on me. With all the deplatforming and social media restrictions, you know this is a plan by the state so that I can't be in touch with you. I can't share my story with you. I can't tell you what the state are doing to me. They are trying to completely silence me, to wipe me out, to remove me from the public domain, to remove me from people's memory. And, you know, if it weren't for the likes of you and your continued support, they'd win. But here's what I'm asking of you. Please share this video, share my story. Let people know what the British establishment are doing to me. It's corrupt and it's wrong. It's evil on every level. And so if my immediate fate, as I suspect it is, includes jail time and further persecution, then so be it. I can face anything the state throws at me if I know that I've got the loyalty and the backing and the continued support of the people that I do this for, you, the people watching this video. So please keep this going. Please don't let the state win. Don't let me be forgotten. Don't let me be cast into the darkness, which is what they want. If I can depend on you to do that for me, then you can depend on me forevermore to stay true to this cause. I give you my word on that. Thank you for watching my story. Please share it as much as you can. God bless.